Back in 1915, after finishing up his shift working underground, a coal miner left his carbide lamp hanging on a piece of timber. That timber ignited and spread to a nearby vein of coal. Well, 111 years later, that same fire is still burning today. And although this fire has pretty much erased the town from existence, it got me wondering, the thermal heat that's created here, can it be harnessed for something useful? Well, we're going to talk about that. So you're invited to come along with me for the latest look at the Laurel Run Mine fire. So although we had documented this before, I do like to come back annually, pretty much in January, just to kind of give an update. And we have the perfect time of day. Oh, actually, look back there.
Oh, wow.
So we have a big vent, and also I'm not alone today. I do have a special guest. His name is Robbie. His channel name is I'm Not Lost, I'm Exploring. He's done a video on Centralia, and I saw that, came out pretty good, and I said, hey, are you aware of Laurel Run? He's like, I'm not. I'm like, well, we need to check it out. So he's here with me for his very first time.
This is cool.
And we're checking out one of the very first vents and fissures here, although they pretty much are everywhere today. We have a overcast, cool day in the 20s, potential snow, and you can already tell where the fire is burning in this area because there's hardly any snow here. Everything is melted for the most part, and the smoke or steam is billowing out like no tomorrow. Now, last time I had great success with a few of my tools. I did bring them back. I do have my 4-gas detector. We're going to do some readings. I also have my thermal imaging camera as well. We'll get some not only temperature readings, but also see a visual representation of what the mine fire looks like. So I do have my 4-gas detector here. We used it last time, had some really fast readings. I'm anticipating the same results. This reads for oxygen, H2S, which is hydrogen sulfide, LEL, which is combustible, and then carbon monoxide. So it's powered on. We're going to come right down here and see what happens. And warm up at the same time. Yep, there it goes. Screen's fogged up. So oxygen levels are depleted. This goes off below 19.5, I believe. It was down to 17. And what I learned is basically displacing the oxygen. So the steam coming out is just no oxygen within it. Now, nothing else comes up on this. That's because, well, near the surface, it's really diluted with the atmosphere. But I wouldn't be surprised, though, if you were to stick this down closer to the source, that you get some H2S readings or possibly some carbon monoxide. But right here, the only real danger is just less oxygen. But I'm in no danger being here because I'm surrounded by the atmosphere. But almost instantly, this is dropping in oxygen. But like I said, you wouldn't want to spend a ton of time here, but if you want to warm up, you definitely could do so. I also do have my thermal imaging camera, so we are going to get some readings as well. I'll include the screenshots on the video itself. So right now we're getting high temperatures of 121 degrees. So 125 actually. Let's move it around here. It looks like lava on the screen coming down from the pits of hell pretty much. And even the rock right here is warm, comparatively speaking. It's about 15 degrees warmer than the ambient temperature outside. And this is a pretty massive rock, so the heat coming up right beneath it, no surprise that it's also heating up this rock here. And I said before, you know, if you're in a life or death situation, you could come to a location like this, put like a tarp around it, and you could be really comfortable. I mean, the temperatures right here, right in front of me, is around 80 some degrees. So it's nice and balmy compared to 25 degrees outside here. But again, you wouldn't want to spend a ton of time in there because you're not going to have as great of oxygen. Now, if this is your first time here to this location on my channel and you're not too sure of the history, don't worry, I will be sharing it with you in just a little bit. But basically I want to come over and just show you in certain areas, there's fissures, cracks and crevices almost anywhere you go. And it is a moist, wet heat. I know some people don't like that word, but just to show you, it does want to fog up the camera when you do put it in there. So that's what you're dealing with. Temperature readings, this one's not nearly as hot. It's showing a high around 78 degrees. Still nice and warm compared to the outside temperature, but that one right there, about 50 degrees hotter. But I'm excited to get back to that big one over there, which is probably going to give us the best readings. But we're going to be heading further back, where there's a few more of them, and some ruins to some mining history as well. And you can clearly see the fire is not burning over here. It's cold enough, snow is still on the ground, but just footsteps away. No snow, ground is warmer, and we have steam vents scattered around us. So I'm going to take Robbie basically the same path that I go when I come here. So we left our first area, walking a trail here. And in case you weren't aware, there's a few other things I could tell you besides about the mine fire going on, which I've shared in other videos. I recently did a video from the Ashley Yards. Oh, that's a little mini bike. Little mini motorcycle right there. Oh, that was made for you. Custom fit. No, he's got the same sense of humor as me. I usually do goofy stuff like that. Getting back to what I was saying though, is that I did a video on the Ashley Yards, which is not too far away from here, the old CNJ, Central Railroad of New Jersey. And I traced the old line coming underneath 309 and 81. They want to turn that into a rail trail and connect it to here, Laurel Run, because there is a section of the D&L trail further back, closer to 7 Tubs, that the trail's finished, but there's no official trailhead or access other than going through 7 Tubs. So I did document that. That's the proposed plans in the future. Also, Northampton Street is home to the Giants Despair Hill Climb, annual weekend-long event, draws thousands of people. So there's a lot of things going on here. And of course, railroad history itself, as the CNJ line came right through here, further down. We'll show you parts of that later on.
Yeah, I remember seeing something about them putting the D&L up this way, but I didn't know.
Yeah, it's back here. It's finished. It's just not accessible except for going through some really sketchy trails or coming through 7 Tubs, the old access road. But it's a beautiful section. It goes through a nice rock cut area, and there's some seating along the way. You can actually over here and overlook 7 Tubs from the trail. Well, here we are above Wilkes-Barre on a big hillside here. Got the power lines. Down below us, which is not in sight, is the old rail line. And the rail trail that's finished is back there. But right here we have barren landscape and more vents and fissures. Got the thermal gun back on again. Reading 121 degrees and 122. Believe it or not, this rock is actually toasty. What is the temperature of this? 77 degrees. It's like sitting on a really hard heating pad. So if you need to survive in brutal temperatures, you could do it here. But I made a cheat sheet for both myself and for Robbie because there's so many areas I cover. A lot of times facts get intertwined or I confuse them for another location. So not to give false or inaccurate information, I do want to share with you some of the brief details about what took place here as to why we're here today. So as we learned, the mine fire did start. It was December 1915 in the Red Ash coal mine. A miner left his carbide lamp burning after a shift which ignited a timber and spread to the vein of coal. Attempts to control or extinguish the fire took place between 1915 and 1957, with officials saying the fire was out in 1957 officially. Like, we did our job, fire's out, no more worries, no more concern. That same year though, 1957, the mine closed. 1966, 9 years later, it was discovered that the fire was still burning. Attempts were made once again to extinguish it by both drilling boreholes, pumping sand into them, hoping to fill up any cracks, crevices, or tunnels with existing veins of coal, and also digging out large trenches, hundreds of feet deep, to try and smother the fire by cutting out the fuel source. Mid-1960s, the town was declared eminent domain. Roughly 850 residents were forced to leave and all homes and buildings were demolished. And around the same time is when the fire started in Centralia. So this town was being evacuated when that fire first started. Once again, 1973, it was declared that the fire is officially out. Well, we could see that's not the case. I talked about this before. If you were to ask people, what's the mine fire that you know about in Pennsylvania? Most people are going to say Centralia. And from what I last learned, there's over a dozen active mine fires burning in Pennsylvania presently. But Centralia is the most known, most talked about because it happened in most recent years, 1960s. It was heavily covered in the media, newspapers, covered from different states. And well, this place was just not talked about because it happened so much earlier. 1915, it only would have made newspapers. And by the time it was already burning for decades and the town was being evacuated for eminent domain, well, Centralia was basically coming onto the map of their own mine fire. But this one, I feel, is more impressive, more significant because it's been burning much longer than Centralia. And unlike Centralia, we have to really search to find any small pockets of heat or steam. Here, it's clear as day where they're burning. Take a seat on that rock. I want to get your impression.
The one right here?
The flat one right there.
Right here?
Yeah, Robbie sit on it, see what he thinks. Even if you put your hands on it, you'll feel it.
Oh, I might not move.
Yeah. I said it's like
Nice and warm
it's
now.
a hard heating pad. And you bring your food, put in some foil, stick it down one of these holes, you have yourself a meal, a warm meal.
Potatoes,
Yeah.
some steak.
Speaking of which, years ago, RJ and myself actually cooked beans and hot dogs at the Centralia mine fire. You'll find that video linked down below in the description. Now that we're both toasty warm, we're gonna head down here to some ruins that I found on a previous visit where I was doing some research, and on one of the old maps, I found a structure back here. And I was like, I wonder if there's anything still left of it today. There is. Although I don't have solid confirmation as to what it used to be, I'll share my thoughts, see if you agree as well. So what do you think of this place so far?
I think it's awesome. Like I said, I really appreciate you bringing me out here, JP. I've never been here before, so this is like a whole different world for me, and I have a great appreciation for things like this.
Yeah, I knew once you've been to Centralia that you'd appreciate this.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So there's something here, but it's even better around the corner. And this is what caught my eye when I came investigating it last time. I found that old wall, but as you come up behind it, you can actually go inside.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Yeah, you just made my day.
Yeah, go check it out. I've been in there already. Just got to harness the heat over here, you'd be good to go. Graceful, very graceful.
Get it.
I got it on mine.
Brick lines and everything.
Yeah. Love the brickwork in here. It's curved beautifully. Goes up towards the surface there. This is the biggest clue that something was going on in here, besides just a tunnel or a cavity. There's these brackets here on the ground and on the ceiling. And this is inset from the rest of the wall. And the top is all black soot.
Then we see the native animal waking from his slumber.
Arr! Give me food. So you may have heard me mention to Robbie my thoughts on this place, in that most likely, without a shadow of a doubt, there was a fire down here on purpose. We're thinking this was either the bottom of a boiler plant, boiler house for the mines, or possibly a kiln, because this structure does show up on a few different maps, but it's not labeled. But all I do know is that man would have came down here, most likely shoveling out ash or tending to a fire, and that accounts for the black soot on the roof. But if you have other thoughts based on the size of it and what we've seen inside, by all means, share your thoughts down below. It's only remnants of what used to exist, but it would have been much larger back in the day. And we're only seeing the underneath of it. It would have been a pretty big building here. We're actually back in one of the former residential areas. This area would have been filled with homes. We walked up the old road over there, which was lined with homes back in the day. As I explained, most of the homes in the neighborhood was on the other side of that road over there. But the homes didn't go up past the water tower up there, the water tank. That's as far as the homes did go. But this is an area I've never walked before, and we just kind of spotted something, both myself and Robbie, some decorative stonework, just showing more of what used to exist. This was someone's home right in this area here, and there's some decorative stonework right there. There is a bit of a foundation or a pad site right here with some, looks like brick right here. So something was positioned on top of here, and then we did find more of it through the woods up there, including an old stone wall too, like a property border. But nature's reclaimed over a century, 111 years. So we came to another location that we always check out. It's fenced in area, the fence is open, it's always open here. And they have two of these vents drilled and placed down into the active mine fire to basically monitor the mine fire, get some readings. I don't know if they still monitor it today, but that's what their intended use was for. But we can see steam coming out, and if you look on the camera here, it's glowing like a big candy cane. So this is reading around 88 degrees, 87. Obviously closer to the surface, it's going to be cooler. Closer to the source, much hotter. And then we have one behind me here. And although there's steam coming out, not nearly as much as I remember in the past. This one is glowing, but it's about 10 degrees cooler, only 73 degrees. So underground, maybe where this vent is placed, it's not burning as much right there, or the smoke or heat or steam is just traveling away from here. So although it is still warm to the touch, minimal steam coming out, it's just not like it used to be, at least from what I remember. And I say the best for last, one that's eluded me for years until I brought a machete last time, was able to kind of hack my way through and get closer to it. But I also, last visit here, stepped into a small sinkhole where the ground gave away and I sunk down about a foot. It's kind of a scary moment. But this is probably the biggest vent or fissure that's out here. And it's been cleared away enough now that we can get really close to it, but there's a lot of dangers here as far as holes in the ground, rocks, roots, and other things. But this is the vent in the scene that we saw earlier from a distance. It's really pluming out from here. All right, so I'm gonna go over first. We're gonna get some readings. Yeah, over here is where I stepped into the ground and it sunk about a foot, so I want to avoid that. Well, I'm gonna get my gear put away. Oh, Jesus. Holy crap. I almost fell into a sinkhole. Yeah, pushing 140 degrees here.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's 20 degrees hotter than any of the ones that I found at Centralia.
142, 143, 145. This is by far the hottest one that we've come across so far.
Yeah.
And the biggest. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. If you fall into here, you're gonna have a hard time getting out, and you'll see why.
You can actually see where I'm aiming the laser with the steam coming up.
Oh yeah, showing through it.
Line. Like we're at a disco party.
Yeah, this is a lot of heat and pressure that formed this.
That's incredible. And that goes right through this whole area.
Yeah. So it's your first time seeing a big vent like this, right?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, Centralia doesn't offer this.
No, Centralia doesn't compare to this. And a lot less people know about this one than
Yeah.
Centralia one.
And that's why I make videos on it, to bring awareness of it, because it's much more historical. It's actually fogging up the lens of the camera.
Get it pushing it down.
Oh yeah, it cleared it out nicely. Did it lose tracking or something?
Yeah, it's hung up.
Probably from the steam or the tree. As long as it doesn't fall in there, you'd be okay.
It probably will.
Well, I'm filming, so. Yeah, so Robbie threw up his unmanned drone. It was doing its little circumference thing, and the steam messed with the sensors and camera, and now it's been hovering there for about 4 minutes. And the battery's gonna die, and most likely it's gonna get caught in the tree, and we're gonna have to rescue it.
Hopefully it gets caught in the
This
tree.
is the kind of behind the scenes. Yeah, it's either going in the tree or down in the crevasse, one of the two. But until they happen, it probably would have made for some pretty good footage. If it crashes, at least it'd be some good footage.
I have a feeling it's not going to come all the way down. It's going to get hung up on that branch.
Well, about 2-3 minutes later, the sun's coming out. Perfect lighting, but the drone's still up there. And it won't let him connect to it through the app. It's just doing its own thing until the battery dies, so. Curious how this is going to play out.
Me too. I have my camera going too.
He's recording, I'm recording. I said, worst comes to worst, I have a 10-foot pole in my car. We could get it from the tree.
We might have to fish it out of here. Oh,
Oh, save the day.
thank you.
Nice one, man. Well, after that exciting escapade with the drone, we could continue on with exploring, but I am excited to see his footage though, but I happened to be in the right spot. I was able to grab it, give it to him, so crisis averted. No problem. But I did want to talk briefly about what I mentioned earlier, is that this is producing thermal heat. With roughly a dozen underground mine fires under Pennsylvania presently, there should be a way to harness this for the good, to capitalize on the situation. Many of these are going to burn for another 100 to 200 years, if not longer. And as far as I know, there's no one, no business, no company, no one capitalizing from this natural phenomenon of an underground mine fire. I call it natural. It was intentionally lit or accidentally lit by man, but it is burning naturally from the source of coal. So it's been burning for over 100 years. There's plenty of fissures and vents. The heat feels fantastic, but the one problem I do know, because I don't know much about thermal heat, but obviously the closer to the surface, the cooler the temperature. Up here, we're getting around 100 degrees, 90 degrees. Highest level I got was about 145. Closer to the source, it's gonna be several hundred degrees, maybe even hotter. But I feel that people should be capitalizing on this, wherever these mine fires are, for either heating homes, heating businesses, maybe even heating swimming pools or hot tubs, or anything that requires steam or heat or pressure to power equipment. I'm sure there's a huge financial cost for that, but the long run, you have free heat, free thermal heat. So I don't know what options are available other than boring down, putting pipe systems in, directing the heat to specific locations. I think in the long run, it would pay off for itself because you're getting this free energy, but I'm just kind of baffled though that no one's capitalized on that though, because Centralia, as far as I know, there's nothing. Here, there's definitely nothing. Even though the town's gone here, Laurel Run Estates just up the road are the closest residents, them and Georgetown. They could certainly capitalize on free heat, especially in these brutal Pennsylvania winters. So if you have any thoughts you'd like to share on how this could be harnessed or what ideas could be implemented to gain access to this energy freely, other than coming here and standing over it, by all means, share your thoughts down below, but this is a golden opportunity to capitalize on free energy. This is already happening. If it's gonna happen past our lifetime, why not use it for what it's intended for? So I could tell that Robbie watches my videos because he's like, Jay, we haven't come across any toys. It must not officially be abandoned. I'm like, just wait, we'll come across something. And lo and behold, back here behind this little makeshift shooting range, there is a playhouse. So we did find a toy. I told him, I said, years ago I was here with RJ, we found the Power Wheels we were riding around on, but that's like a little makeshift kitchen right there. Fisher Price or Play School. So it's official, it's abandoned. So in 2026, we can see the mine fire is still burning today, and without a shadow of a doubt, that's the biggest and best vent that there is here, and the hottest too. Highest I got was 145 degrees as the temperature was fluctuating. And the most entertaining aspect was Robbie's drone that decided to just stall out above us and almost make a crash landing into the tree and into the fissure itself. Thankfully, I was able to reach out and grab it, give it back to him in one piece. But I always enjoy coming back here, not only sharing the history, but showing you what conditions are like, and that not a whole lot has changed, not only with the environment, but with the fire. You know, it hasn't really moved on anywhere. It's still burning actively beneath us. And coming this time of year, you could clearly see where it's burning, where it's not only with the steam, but with the barren ground. So it's one of the better underground coal mines that you could document or explore for yourself, because although Centralia is more well known, the old city streets are still there, but that's all there really is. The fissures and vents are along Big Mine Run Road, and they're not nearly as prevalent or as hot as they are here. But I do want to bring Robbie over, get his take on Laurel Run Mine fire being his first time here. What do you think?
Oh, it's incredible. I appreciate it again. I appreciate you bringing me out here. But to actually see the fissures in the ground, the cracks in the ground, the smoke still rising today in 2026. I think in my video I may have said 2025 a few times.
Yeah, we're just on just over the line there. We're okay.
But yeah, it's definitely an incredible area and a beautiful area. But it's such an odd thing to see the smoke coming from the ground and the amount of smoke coming from the ground. And
to know that just under 1,000 people were vacated from here by eminent domain. They'll never live here again. Don't know if anyone's ever gonna live here again. Probably if they do, it'll be past our future generations. But just to know that it's been burning for over a century is pretty incredible. I mean, that's much longer than Centralia. And Centralia is estimated to burn for another 200, 300 years, this one as well. So hopefully future explorers keep documenting these places, keep the history alive, and that way people who are later in life could learn about what used to exist from so long ago. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on the possible use or harnessing of the thermal heat, because I think it should be capitalized on other than just being wasted in the atmosphere, but that probably won't happen either. But anyways, it's fun to think about, fun to talk about, but I do want to thank Robbie for coming along. I had a great time hanging out, collaborating, and we should be doing probably at least one more video together. So if you want to check him out, you'll find his link down below in the description. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you in the next video.
See you guys.